And what else is for our convenience? Well, the Commons news. I've got Randy Holhut on the phone. Good morning, Randy. How are you?
Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Joyce.
Happy Friday to you. Happy weekend.
Yes, it's a nice day today. It's going to be a busy weekend around Windham County.
Lots going on.
Lots of stuff going on.
Absolutely.
Gallery walk tonight.
Exactly. Also a perfect time always to catch up on the local news right here in the Commons, commonsnews.org. Again, I have Randy Holhut on the phone with me right now. Let's dive right in, Randy. I think I'd like to start with the attack right in downtown Brattleboro that happened on Elliot Street last week. Really unfortunate event.
Well, it's not, someone getting assaulted on Elliot Street is not anything new. A lot of bad things happen on Elliot Street, particularly in the evening. But this one is just kind of one of those things where there's just so many questions, so many things that could have turned out differently that didn't, and the two people that have been charged with the assault seem pretty hapless.
Right.
That they're just making very bad decisions.
Right, and also continuing when they were in court to kind of make a mockery of it.
Yeah. Well, the gentleman that was captured after press time, he was.
Right.
I use that term loosely. He was captured
gentleman?
on Elliott Street,
right,
on Wednesday morning, early, and you kind of wonder what he was doing there at 6:00 in the morning.
That's a good question.
But anyways, yeah, his behavior in court was less than meeting the courtroom decorum standards.
Right.
But looking at the affidavit, you got. One guy goes into the Indian market on Elliott Street to get a couple of beers,
mm-hmm.
and allegedly gets jumped by this guy, and cracked over the head with a beer bottle repeatedly, with the girlfriend egging him on, allegedly, and then poor Sheila Linton happens to be driving along, and she gets attacked by these dummies,
right?
Allegedly,
putting it kindly, yeah. And so so she was driving in her car, got up. What they were kind of blocking the road, as I understood
spilled out in the road.
Yep.
It sometimes happens with fights on Elliott Street.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. So she gets out to try to push them out or ask them to leave the road so she can continue driving. And then also notice that there was the glass in the road, and wanting to remove the glass so she didn't get a flat tire or ruin her vehicle. And then they attack her. Yeah.
So in her case, unlucky to be driving down Elliott Street while this stuff is going on.
Yep.
But for 2 cans of beer, all this happened.
Yeah.
And looking at another story with Mr. I forgot Pullion, I guess.
Pullion, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years ago, there was a story in the Deerfield Valley News. He was in court for another assault on a police officer.
Okay.
Where he bit. It was another assault.
He bit.
He was being
I'm sorry.
Did
you say he bit somebody?
Yeah, he bit a cop.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful.
While he was being transported up to Springfield to be held.
I vaguely remember this story. Yeah.
Yes, so he was getting really violent and in the back of the cruiser, and they had to stop it. And when they stopped the cruiser to try and secure him, he's bit one of the cops.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to go well for either of the people. I'm thinking that whatever they were shouting at Sheila was kind of ancillary to other things that were going on. And in the case of the girl who's charged in this, she wrecked her car the day before in Windham.
Oh, okay.
So neither of them were having a run of good luck.
Well,
but even more so, while watching this unfold on Facebook in real time, Jeff Potter, our editor, is a wizard of Facebook, as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to track down all the different aliases this guy had on Facebook and watch him kind of confess what he did online. And then, of course, take it down once you figured out that you just don't.
Right. That was pretty stupid. Yeah.
Facebook, too.
Right. Exactly. It's not under lock and key for sure. Yeah. It's out there, people. It's public forever.
Yes, and people don't realize that when you post something on Facebook, it's out there.
Exactly.
Someone will get a screenshot of it, even if you take it down.
Exactly. Yeah. So she's being held right now for lack of bail, as I understand it, right?
About $2,500.
$2,500. Hate-motivated crime, assault, and he as well. He's being held as well in Springfield. Is that correct?
I don't know. I haven't seen the outcome of the arraignment, but I imagine his bail is a little higher, being a frequent flyer.
Exactly. Will we see an update of the story next week in the Commons?
Yes, we will. As we'll get the paperwork on Mr. Pulliam and see what else is going on with this. But it's really unfortunate that just of all the people that would get attacked on Elliot Street in a hate crime, it would be Sheila Linton.
Yeah, it's unfortunate all around. Let's shift gears now and talk about the pancake breakfast with Senator Patrick Leahy right here in Brattleboro that took place this week.
Monday.
At Monday at the American Legion.
Yes, probably the quietest campaign stop of the season. Because for most people don't realize that Patrick Leahy is running for re-election.
Right.
And of course people wouldn't know that because he hasn't made much of a big deal that he's running for re-election because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that he will win re-election to the Senate, the seat that he's held since 1974, and his opponent, Scott Milne, will likely lose by 20 or 30 points, and life goes on.
Right. So, what was his message coming here to Brattleboro on Monday? What was he kind of peddling to the folks at that pancake breakfast?
Well, certainly not his candidacy. He barely mentioned that he's running for re-election, and
right.
If it wasn't for the signs hanging in the background, you wouldn't have known that he was running for re-election. The main thing is the election campaign, and of course,
right.
a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters are mad at Leahy because he backed Hillary Clinton right from the start of the campaign.
So his purpose, he was really coming to really bring the message home about unifying the party. Yeah,
and that's pretty much Donald Trump has managed to handle that task pretty nicely with every word that comes out of his mouth. And watching the election, and Leahy's been in Washington a long time, and one of his jobs is vetting Supreme Court justices.
Yep.
And we know there's one vacancy on the court, and
that's right.
President Obama has put forth a nominee, a qualified nominee that everyone except the Republicans in the Senate agrees would make a good Supreme Court justice. And still, after nearly 190 days, his nomination is still sitting there and will not be voted on. And the Republicans refuse to vote on it until, as they said, maybe they'll consider it after the election.
Right.
So this is implying that they're probably happy to have Donald Trump select the next Supreme Court justices, presumably.
That's a little scary. I mean, he did touch on Trump a bit, didn't he?
Yes, and any sentient politician these days knows that the man cannot, should not, must not be allowed anywhere near the White House, even if he's coming to the front gate to buy a ticket to take the tour.
That was very green eggs and ham of you, I have to say. I will not in a box. I will not with a fox. I will not in my socks let you in the White House.
Looking at the number of sane Republicans, and there are a few of them left, that are backing away from the Trump candidacy as quickly as they possibly can.
Distancing themselves, yeah.
Voters in general are pretty much faced with a choice. Are you voting for for country or you're voting for party.
Right.
Now, we know there's about a 30% hardcore out there that think Donald Trump is the bee's knees, that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and insert any other cliche here, that he'll make America great again, and they will not be dissuaded by anything he says. The trick is, of course, the other 20% that he needs to get reelected. How many people would vote for Donald Trump? And that's an unknown, but he's doing his best to make sure that more people won't vote for him.
Right. Yep.
But so Patrick Leahy is predicting that even with the kind of the sour grapes we saw from the Bernie Sanders folks at the convention,
Yep.
That when the chips are down, they're going to show up and vote for Hillary Clinton. Maybe they'll have clothespins on their nose when they're doing it, but they will do it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he said that he did, that he did have people even approach him at the American Legion and express their distaste for him supporting Hillary, not endorsing Sanders. But he's still saying that he believes that the party will be unified and the Bernie supporters will support Hillary in the end.
Well, if you look at it logically, Bernie's never been a member of the Democratic Party. He freely admitted that he just borrowed the Democratic Party for the past year to run for president because, given the way our political system is, if you are a third-party candidate, you are absolutely guaranteed that you will not win.
Right.
You will not get press attention. You will be ignored.
Right.
You will be belittled. You will be not taken seriously.
That's right.
So by mounting a challenge to Clinton when every other Democrat was too afraid to, he managed to get the best platform he's had in his entire political career to put forth some of the ideas that we've been hearing here in Vermont for the last 40 years of his political career. Most of us here in Vermont can recite his speech by heart, some of his talking points, and maybe even do it in his voice. But,
there you go.
But
I see a future, Randy. Saturday Night Live, here you come.
But so he has no loyalty to the party because he's really not a member of it, and he's why would the rank and file of the party, being Patrick Leahy, Peter Shumlin, and some of the other bigwigs in the Democratic Party in Vermont, why would they back someone who just joined their party out of convenience a year earlier?
Sure.
If they're talking about loyalty, they'll go with the one who's been there all along, which would be Hillary Clinton.
Exactly.
But also, I got a feeling that they also didn't believe Bernie would do as well as he did.
That's true, too.
I think that kind of caught them off guard, and they couldn't quite change horses in midstream in terms of that. I'm whipping out way too many cliches this morning.
I know.
But yeah, if you commit to somebody, you can't really change your mind unless something really Trumpian happens.
Right. All right, let's move on. We have a couple minutes left, but I want to talk about the attack of the wild parsnip.
Here I thought the goldenrod was coming out early, as I saw all this yellow stuff, these yellow plants that look kind of goldenrodish along the sides of the road. And then the hay fields, they're growing back and things like that. And it turns out that it's something that really is a kind of new plant for this part of New England, called a wild parsnip.
Yeah.
Wild parsnip? What the heck is that?
Right.
So apparently it is a relative to the parsnip and the carrot and other root vegetables. But this thing is really bad news if you are, say, doing brush hogging or haying a field, and you're cutting this plant, and you get the sap of it all over you, and then you're out in the sun all day.
Right.
Within a very short time, you'll find yourself with a very red rash and blisters like you've had a second-degree burn.
Goodness gracious. That
and,
sounds highly unpleasant.
Really bad eruption on your plant. On your
skin,
or
right? Yes, I gotcha.
Contact with the sap,
right?
And being an invasive species from and without any things that could stop it, these plants tend to flourish really nicely, even in a drought like we've we've been experiencing.
Right.
And yes, even though it rained this week, we're still in under drought conditions.
Right. Don't be fooled. So if you try not to come into contact with it. If you do, you really should contact your physician after you've been exposed.
Well, if you brush up against it, no big deal.
Right.
But if you're out gardening and you're clearing brush, and you're come in contact with that, clean up quickly and get out of the sun, and hopefully that will minimize the damage. And after that, if anything starts popping up, then contact your physician. But the main thing is just stay away from it.
Stay away from it. Yeah. So if you want to see what that looks like, if you want to read more about it, pick up a copy of the Commons or download it at commonsnews.org. Randy, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend.
And I hope you do so too.
Thank you. And we'll be right back to wrap up this morning's edition of Green Mountain Mornings.